No monologues allowed and dancing to I Will Survive, how the WTO's Geneva package became one Geneva since Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala took over as head of the World Trade Organization final 12 months. One of her foremost bugbears has been the negotiating fashion of member countries, which she says is ineffective, rigid and wishes to exchange. The WTO, a global employer that regulates international exchange, is frequently accused of being outdated and unproductive, criticisms Okonjo-Iweala has sought to deal with directly since taking the helm as its Director General. You have to talk to each different. And that means there must be compromise. Nobody facet will get 100% of what they want, Okonjo-Iweala chided at the begin of the WTO's biennial ministerial conference this week. The conference overran by using 2 days however brought the biggest bundle of multilateral trade offers since the Uruguay round of talks that launched the WTO 27 years in the past. It additionally created new international trading regulations, associated with fish subsidies, for most effective the second one time within the company's history. Often WTO delegates make lengthy, bland speeches in formal periods repeating well-established positions that few truly concentrate to. This time, to avoid time wasting, ministers had been asked to position their establishing statements on a public website, instead of forcing the exchange watchdog's 164 individuals to listen to each one. Okonjo-Iweala is a talented negotiator herself whose largest coup as Nigerian finance minister turned into to influence the Paris Club to waive her U.S. ancient debt. It's becoming a diktat forum, she instructed the assembled. One set of humans come and say I want this. The others come and say I want that. There's no negotiation. This has to stop. Not all people changed into satisfied with very last agreement, with many civil society organizations pronouncing that one of the principal offers struck, a partial waiver on intellectual assets for COVID-19 shots, become watered down appreciably at some point of the direction of negotiations. But a few diplomats credited Okonjo-Iweala for there being deals at all. At several factors, negotiations regarded hopeless or had been on the verge of collapse due to intransigence with the aid of India and protests over a fishing textual content that did no longer go as a ways as many coastal and island nations desired. The DG merits plenty of praise and he or she driven us while we needed to be driven, U.S. Ambassador to the WTO, Maria Pagan, instructed reporters. EU Change Chief Valdis Dombrovskis agreed that her determination were instrumental in a deal being reached. That's her style, she become very engaged, very Hansen, one should even say pushing WTO individuals, pushing for effects. Certainly, she performed a completely substantial position here, Dombrovskis told Newshounds. Huddle's tensions created by way of the Ukraine warfare additionally modified the dynamic, breaking apart big classes into smaller, extra-dynamic conferences, with chairs shuttling among them, considering that some Western contributors refused to talk to Russia. What becomes special this time is that there have been greater and a greater diversity of smaller meetings and there has been extra movement and fluidity, stated Peter Ungfakorn, a former WTO Group of Workers member who now writes blogs on Alternate. Her supporters say she has re-energized the workplace of the Director General, a role that does not have many formal powers, even though some members have criticized her for methods they are saying are opaque and unique. Much of the legwork this week turned into finished by way of delegates. Images shared with display a dozen negotiators clustering in huddles to draft language round a unmarried PC and tables strewn with mints and empty coffee cups past nighttime on Thursday. The coffee was at times badly wanted, with hours spent on a single footnote of an agreement on a COVID-19 IP waiver. For diplomats, the week has additionally been a marathon. U.S. Ambassador Pagan said she and some colleagues saved themselves going by dancing to The Final Countdown and I Will Survive. We additionally at 2 or 3 in the morning danced a little bit in one of the rooms at the same time as we have been watching for something to occur, just to hold ourselves wakeful and entertained, she stated. Refiles to fix typo in WTO in paragraph 3.